So hey guys, what is this? You might be asking. Some of you may know what it is. It's called Krampus. Yes, Krampus of folklore fame. And I'm going to paint Krampus because that needs to be done for one. And yeah. And so Jake asked me to record the painting of Krampus, so I think I will do that. So let me get started on Krampus. I think first step, obviously, what I tend to do is the eyes. So I'm going to give Krampus kind of these yellow and black eyes, and I'm going to do the mouth with the fangs in there. And we'll get going. Okay, so starting with the eyes. That's what we do. First step, paint the entire socket in black. It's gonna be a little messy here. Not a big deal. Just paint the whole area in black. So the way I do yellow eyes is just oh so slightly different than painting in your standard black and white eyes. So starting with the Vallejo model color black, I'm going to paint in these eye sockets. And you see I'm not being terribly careful here. I'm going to paint this tongue in, the mouth in here. Paint that in black. Again, not being terribly careful about this, just trying to get it all in there so that I have no white spots showing. So there we go. Let that dry for a second. That'll give me a little bit of time to mix up some white. So I'm going to mix up some white. So again, pretty much the same kind of deal as doing regular eyes. There's just one extra step. And Krampus kind of has small eyes. And so smaller eyes are a little bit more challenging, but the advantages here are the fact that both of the eyes are pretty well centered on the model. Sometimes you'll get models that are sculpted to look one way or the other, so their eyes may not be quite centered. You might also have some other models that have done some like tricky things with the orbits. Some sculptors will actually try to sculpt the pupils in for you, and you know, I know it's trying to help. Sometimes that hurts though, because sometimes it's actually kind of harder to get that done. So anyway, so I'm going to take my white and I'm going to paint in the orbits. And really you just want to leave the thinnest little outline of black on there. See if I can get this to focus so you can see what's going on. It's probably hard to see with the white that's the rest of this model. But yeah, just nice and gentle. You know, I can leave Krampus's eyes looking like that. It's actually not bad. But I'm going to try to put pupils in. This will work or it won't work. If it doesn't work, it's not a big deal. Again, I went in so thin that you're not going to be able to tell that I did the eyes a couple times, if it comes down to that. There we go. Let that sit there for a second. Switch back to black. Oh wait. While I'm here on white, I might as well give myself a little bit of a white coat for this tongue, because red does not hide very well. But if I give it a little head start here while leaving the shadow in, that will be nice. So I'm going to just give the tongue a quick hit right there. Just enough to catch some red for us. Alright. So I'm back to black. Now when I do these pupils, you're going to try to hit the area so that you're just going to leave a... That's perfect. You don't need... Most of the time with these models, you don't need or want to hit dead center of the eye. But with Krampus, it's kind of okay, because... there we go. See if you can see that. Might need to adjust the camera here so you can see a little bit better what's going on. Let's give it a shot. I'm going to bring this in a little bit so you can actually see what's going on closer into the model. Right about there. Good. I think. Can you see the other eye? Yeah, you can. It's a little bit smaller. A little bit smaller than the other eye, but not too bad. Okay. See, and that's it. The hard part's done. Yeah, I can paint in the tongue right now if I want to. In fact, I might do that, but let me give this a little bit more white on the tongue. There we go. A little bit more white there. And let's go in with a little bit of red. This guy's been kind of sitting around for a little while. I've been so busy doing other stuff, you guys, that really haven't had a chance to paint. That's kind of bummed me out a little bit, but tonight I wasn't supposed to have much time to paint. But I found some time, so now we're painting Krampus. I'm sure Krampus and his many fans are very pleased about that. I'm just going to hit the tongue here, a bit of red. And you see when I hit that with the white, what it allows me to do is allows me to cover with red in fewer coats. So there we go. Now we're going to do teeth. Krampus shouldn't have great teeth. He's actually going to have some kind of foul looking teeth. So I'm going to go in with the Aracu sand. So that's kind of my default non-bleached teeth look. A little bit of Aracu sand. Mix that up. Now, if they're bigger teeth, you go in with the, you can actually like highlight up towards white. Actually, more towards ivory. because you don't actually want to go super white on teeth, and it just looks a little silly. But that, my friends, is kind of working. Kind of working. There we go. This is like the typical beast layout for me. Like that. You might need to go over the teeth a little more than once, especially if you painted lots of black in like I did. There we go. Alright, Krampus now has a toothy grin. Looks like I missed a spot in the back there with the red. Can do that. Just get in there. You don't want to leave any white spots in the mouth. It doesn't look right. Alright, so there's that. While I'm here, might as well do some ears. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of pink. And I thin all my paints, like 1-to-1, at least, sometimes more. If you guys watch my videos, I actually go more like 2-to-1, 3-to-1, even 4-to-1 on flesh, depending on what stage of the highlight we're talking about, and how much smoothness I'm trying to achieve. So, I'm going to go in with pink here in the ears. Kind of looks like a lamb with these bright pink ears and the white. Pretty funny so far. Yeah, I'm just going to give the tip of the tongue just a little bit of pink. There we go. Alright. Looking alright so far, Mr. Krampus. And then I can go back to the eyes. Now, final step on the eyes, if I'm doing yellow eyes, is I'm going to actually use some old GW yellow ink, because this does a great job of keeping the integrity of the eye and the clarity, but giving it a yellowish tinge. So I'm doing that. It's just going to give it, you're probably not even going to be able to see this on camera, but it just gives it a nice yellowish kind of glow. Let's see, maybe you can see it on camera. No, you can't even tell that the eyes are yellow. They're too small. It's alright. He's my Krampus. He'll know. He has yellow eyes, and they rule. Alright, so yellow eyes are down. Now the weird part. Gotta figure out how we're gonna do Krampus's flesh. Leaning towards a grayish brown. Let's see if I can get a real dingy gray. So I'm gonna go with some of this basalt gray, and then I'm going to mix it up with just a drop of this heavy skin tone from Malifaux Game Color. We'll see if this works. It's either going to work or it's not. If it doesn't, this part of the video will be edited out. My gray, so I'm going about 3 drops of gray and about a drop of that heavy skin tone, and this should make for a very muddy looking color. that I'm hoping hides very well. We'll find out here. So the plan is to go with this gray. Highlight up towards a lighter flesh color, actually more towards a lighter gray, and then wash it with something that does actually look a little bit more like flesh. And that's a technique that I use to kind of give an unnatural, we'll call it an unnatural flesh tone, something that looks like it's got the glow of flesh to it. So this is looking pretty good. Just want this to look like a nice dingy gray color. So there's that. Let's get the first coat down. See, Krampus has he has spots where flesh meets fur, and you want that stuff to blend pretty well. Wow, this is quite watery thin. That's good. It's actually going to look a little bit closer to what I'm hoping for here. I'm just going to cut her on the face. It's actually pretty damn good. Gonna make it a little bit tricky for me to figure out how to do the fur. Now normally I would have switched to a bigger brush by this time, but I don't know, it's looking alright. And I mean, there really isn't a whole lot to this model. Don't be offended by that, Krampus. See? Krampus. Yeah, that should look pretty cool, I think. It's a good look for the Krampus. Yeah, this looks so good. What I might do is actually base coat the whole model that color and then highlight up differently as I go through flesh and through fur. It's not a bad thought. I might have to try it that way. I think what I'll do is this will be the flesh skin tone, or the foundation coat, if you will, and then I'm going to highlight up one shade lighter. I think I'm going to do the fur as either a light blue or a yellow fur tone. Sometimes light blue's kind of cool, kind of gives that like magical Arctic look. So sometimes not. Wow, this brush is taking way too long to do this. Time to break out the big guns. There we go. Big belly brush coming in. I could do this much faster. There we go. A little bit more here. To that shadowy part there. Do the tail. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's exactly the color I was looking for. Just a great base tone. Now as I add white to this, it's going to make it look a little bit more opaque, which is okay. And I better get the hooves here. Krampus is going to paint very fast. Make sure I didn't miss anything. The backs of the ears. Knock those out real quick. Cannot paint with the camera there. So hard to get the angle. Gonna have to teach myself how to do that, and it's gonna look funny on camera because you guys are it's gonna look like I'm pulling paint, but I'm not, or trying not to. In some cases I am, just to get the angle right so that we can see what's going on. So that's looking pretty good so far. Looking pretty good there, Krampus. All right, make sure I didn't miss anything. Put him down for a second. It's looking pretty good. Put more back here. Alright. So there's that. Now, really quickly, I got the model here, and I'm looking at it. I'm going to go a little bit of Devlin mud in the mouth. Give those teeth a dirty look again. And then you're going to apply just like you're painting it. You can also go a little thick and allow it to run a little bit. Actually doesn't look half bad. So there's that. It's just giving me a little bit of shadow on the teeth there. Well, it looks pretty good. And right in there. Okay. And I'll give him just a little bit of a cap on the teeth. This his fangs look a little scarier. Just ever slight little detail. There you go. Alright. Krampus looking pretty fierce now. Okay, so, oops. There. Almost forgot. Sometimes thumbs and stuff you wanna make sure you're getting all the undersides and so forth. I don't even know if this is a good angle or not. Alright, next up. Give this flesh tone a little more life to it by adding some light flesh to the mix. So I'm going to add 2 light drops of light flesh into the mix I've got working here with my flesh base and basalt gray. This is going to start bringing a little bit of pink to the mix. And then, you know, if you over highlight, like if you overshoot the color that you were going for, don't worry about it too much. You're always gonna be able to clean that up with the ink step. Krampus here probably be okay, even if I go pretty light here. So I'm gonna go pretty light here because I don't really need to do too much highlighting for this bad boy, because he's Krampus. Oh, that's cool. There we go. Not bad. Right, Krampus? Right, Krampus? Krampus is okay. Krampus approves. On with the highlighting, he says. More Krampus. This is going to be pretty simple flesh tone. Gonna do this highlight, then I'm gonna wash, and then I'll probably come back with this highlight, or maybe a little bit more yellow in the highlight. Actually, no, this is a good highlight. I'm gonna totally come back with this. Looks good. Long flat area of the tail here, just weird. Here we go. Krampus. Okay. And then I can ink this guy. And as the wash is drying, I can start working on the flesh. I mean, not the flesh, the fur, which is going to be the majority of the model. And I mean, we're practically home free, because that's how awesome Krampus is. He's even easy to paint. Okay. There we go there. Now, for flesh tone, I've got a couple of options. I can go Griffin Sepia, which is where I'm leaning, or if I want to, I can try something really, I can try like Bad Ad Black, not really leaning that way. If I wanted more of a ruddy color, I could go ochre and flesh, but I don't think that's really going to go with how gray Krampus is. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the Griffin Sepia, and it's just going to give me a little bit of a brown, a little bit of a glow, and then I'll be able to come back and re-highlight it, and it should look pretty good. So let's go in with some Griffin Sepia. It's funny, I know a lot of guys swear by, for flesh, they swear by ochre and flesh. And it probably would have worked okay here. But for me, I just really like this Griffin Sepia. It gives me a warmer look to the flesh. A little bit warmer look to Krampus. Is actually kind of making this flesh look, mixing with the gray. It's almost kind of a greenish brown look, which is pretty cool actually. So I'm just gonna drop this down. It's gonna give us some shadows. That's actually pretty cool. I don't know. May have to stick with this. Well, I'll have time to decide when it dries. And we can be working on the fur. I'm really interested in seeing how I want to do this fur. Because I'm not sure. I mean, Krampus is a Nordic legend, so he should probably have gray to bluish white fur, but you never know. You never know if it's gonna turn out okay or not. So I'm just gonna stop, let this dry for a little bit. Be right back.